Hi, so this is SaffronTCG. I'm back with a video. It's been a long time. Today I'm joined by my friend Rex, who just won a store regional with Shanks.
Yep, I think Shanks is a really good deck when you see the right bracket. It also has a chance, depending on the matchup, to be a little scary, but it was just my day. I just found the right things.
Okay, do we want to start with your deck list?
Sure, so we're going to start off with the cards that don't have, like, not 2Ks. So the first is the 4 Sanji. So I'll just put it right here. This card is so needed in the mirror. We're probably going to go to matchups later.
Yeah.
But spoilers is I played 3 mirrors. This card on 3, it's so good. It's so good. And then they hit it,
Yeah.
and then you can draw a card. Phenomenal. Best thing to see on 3. Cinema. Next, we got the best blocker, Lucky Roo. The amount of games that you can win just by having Lucky Roo on 4, into Zuro, into Bello Betty, into Purple Luffy.
I'm surprised. Some people don't run it as a 4 of.
Some people, yeah. Some people run it as a 3 of, 4 of, 2 of, don't even run it. I think you're trolling, personally. One of the best cards ever. The only time it's bad is if you're in Dofi and they like bounce it. But anything besides that.
I mean, you're going to dodge Dofi now.
Yeah, just dodge Dofi. You hear that, Shanks players? Just dodge Dofi or take their first curve and then pray. Next, this is a little bit more of a tech option that has got a lot more popularity.
Yeah.
Marco. And I'm running the full suite of 4. Now, you may be wondering like why a niche tech option has 4. We have Bonnie, we already do good in the matchup, so we just want to capitalize on that further. So this pops them. Opposing Shanks doing this, This pops it. Zuro, this pops 1 cost blocker if they run it. It can be combined with Otama. Hiking Bear. A bunch of things that can pop. And when you're playing Shanks, you got to make, since we're only playing like 1 card a turn, every card you play needs to count. And this is a really good one. And also it's hard for Black to remove.
Yeah, that's nice.
Anything for that one? Anything to add?
Marco's nice, yeah. Against Bonnie, what are you popping? Just like Rosy blockers, killer blockers, searchers?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, okay,
it's just nice. Because if you pop a blocker, think of that as also taking like a 1K of their hand or like reducing their timer.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just like so good. And the other thing that's so good is probably your best thing on 5 cost Rush Luffy. So definitely a lot more people have been playing this. Also, this is like maybe a 3 of or 4 of in some people's decks. I think you have to run it at 4. If you hit this at the right time, it could just win you matchups. Like Blackbeard, if they don't expect this, you could just do 2 of them, just winning the matchup.
Yeah.
The main downside, though, is if you don't see this on 5, if you see this on like 7 or 9 or 10, and it's just another brick in your hand, that is the worst time to see it. So there's not many decisions in Shanks, but definitely a big one is, do I do like Lucky Roo on 5 with 1 Dawn, or do I do Punch like Rush Luffy?
Yeah.
I usually do Rush Luffy just so I can get the counterless card out of my hand.
Makes sense, so,
yeah. That's the reason for that. Beckman at 4, do we even need to explain this? Chat, do we really need to explain this? It does everything. It does everything. It can cook, it can clean, it can make the dishes all nice and fancy. It is so good. And it has 1K counter on it. You never run it as less than 4.
Yeah. I mean, it hits just too many good things in our current weird meta.
And trashes it too.
Trashes, yeah.
You just don't care. You just always just play Beckman. Now, the other thing that I don't get it. Some people are playing 3 Rayleigh, probably one of the best cards in your deck.
Maybe they're broke.
You're right, maybe. Yeah, we don't have the full play set, so I'm also a bit of a brokey. But yeah, it's just so good. It just literally, you don't even need me to tell you it. Any aggro matchup, any mid-range matchup, even some control matchups. I think the worst time, funny enough, is if it is into another Shanks. Because besides popping like Yasop or anything like that, like it can't hit Beckman, it can't hit any of the bigger bodies. But at the very least, like you can use it to trade into things, right?
Yeah.
Like usually it's never a bad card in hand unless you have like 3 of them into like, I don't know.
Yeah. I was thinking about your Shanks mirrors. Did any of them play Marco on you?
I think one of them did, yeah.
Okay. Would you ever Beckman that? Like
Beckman versus Rayleigh? What do you
versus Marco.
Yeah, I mean, that's just another reason to use Beckman because the trash doesn't let it get resurrected.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of Shanks lists are running kind of light in events already. So it is like a pseudo bluff when you like... So I plopped a bunch of them with Rayleigh too, and I'm like, if they have it, they have it. And usually they don't have it. Another card that is pretty debated on how many you have. We have the 3 Dragon. C-list with 2, C-list with 3, C-list with 4. I think 3 is the sweet spot. It is almost as good, and you want to see it as much as Rayleigh, It's just sometimes less, which is my rationale
It
for
really
doing it.
sucks that all your 8 costs are not searchable.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's why when you play Shanks at a big tournament, I may be taking a version of this list to Saturday Peoria, but I might not because it is so unsearchable. Like you have this to draw, and you have nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why you're not running any like Uda, right, or Nami.
Yeah, like the way that the hardest decisions for Shanks is when you mulligan and when to mulligan.
Yeah.
Because that's all you're seeing for the rest of the game. And then you just pray that your life and your draws match up as well.
Yeah.
Then the last thing is 4 Shanks. So funny story behind this. I usually run 3 Shanks, 1 Roger, but I had a very good friend of mine.
You can say his name.
Oh, I had Cameron show me a really goated list that had 4 Shanks. And I was like, well, if Cameron has it as 4 Shanks, I will have it as 4 Shanks. I look back at the picture, and it's 3 Shanks, 1 Roger, but just the flash is on. So it actually was better, I think, to just do 3 Shanks, 1 Roger. But luckily it didn't come up. Yeah, that's probably what I'm going to do now. And it didn't really come up because, again, in the mirror, Roger, you usually rather see a Shanks than see a Roger. Yeah. So if I knew I was going to fight 3 mirrors, then 4 Shanks is actually perfect. But I would not recommend this otherwise.
Yeah.
Because 3 is usually all you want to see. And just having like a splash of Roger that can kind of act like at least a huge 10 cost hit, I think that's really good. So yeah, I think I'll just pack up these and then we can start to get into 2Ks.
2Ks and events.
2Ks and events. What do you think so far about the list?
I mean, it looks like Shanks.
Looks like Shanks, yeah. Like it's not I think the deck, it's like right that people like bash on it a little bit where it's like it's so
just
easy.
Play
it's
on
like
curve,
brain dead.
Do you have any advice besides playing on curve for like newer players?
Yeah, like learn mulligans and matchups because that's like since our deck is so hard to like make consistent, that means that every decision you make is that much more important.
Did you hit any like bad mulligans when you played yesterday?
Yesterday, I think I hit a bad mulligan, yeah. And then that's where I was talking about this with you and some of our other locals friends. That's where like good players, that's where you like really excel, right? Like anyone can play with like the perfect hand. It takes like a really shitty hand and how to navigate it.
That's so you just have self-glazing now.
Just a little bit of self-glazing. Yeah. Just a small bit. You gotta. All right, let's go to the 2Ks. First, best red 2K in the game for Otamas. What to say about this?
It's not the best. Okay, it's not the best.
Oh wait, you're right. Chopper is probably better now.
Yeah.
The second best red 2K in the game. Well, it's the best thing to see when you also have a Marco in hand, that's for sure. Just you get a nice little pop on something, reduces power, it's good against the 8-cost kids, yada, yada, yada. Really good. Another really good 2K is the Hongo. Sometimes you play it on 3 if they don't have removal. But if not, then it's just another 2K. Usually if I see Otama and Hongo, I usually pitch the Hongos first. Because if I want to get -2, I'd rather use 1 Don than 3 Don.
Yeah.
But if you're on turn 3, you could play this. And then lastly, we have the best. You're right. I think definitely now, objectively, the best 2K in the game. Because if you're on 4 Don, so if you're on 3 Don, you're playing this. You're like feeling okay.
Yeah.
If you're on 4 Don and playing this, you feel fine. Like
you got a 6K blocker. And
you got a 6K blocker. So it's basically a 7K blocker.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes worse than Lucky Roo. Sometimes it's even better than Lucky Roo. Because you know how like Law can bounce with Dofi can bounce with Law. Yeah. This is usually what I want to see in that matchup because it's like, oh, you're gonna bounce my 2K back to my hand. Great. Still sucks that I lost the tempo, but at least I now have a 2K instead of a 1K.
Yeah.
And then the last is 2 lime juices. This has won me a game before. I have just done double lime juice for the win. And yeah, it's basically like situational and also a 2K. You'll notice about the 2K spread, what's really good when you're not running Uta search is that all of your 2Ks are just great cards.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a deck, again, like Shanks, where you can't really like move cards around, you have to make sure that everything you're hitting is just gas.
Yeah.
Now let's get into things that I think are a little bit more questionable after doing all the glazing on the 2Ks.
It worked out though, right?
It did work out. No, the 2Ks are, I never would think about the 2Ks. This is the part where I think a lot more subjectivity
So
can
I have
come.
a question. Do you think Divine Departure is bait?
I think it is after playing against it and with, as you'll see later on, Mulgun instead. Yeah, it is definitely not as good as Mulgun.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go into the events on that. 2 Red Hawk. Now, a lot
Red
of
Hawk
people, Red Hawk Tua, a lot of people have been on and off this card. I first saw this as like a suggestion, and I was like, this is garbage. This is trash. What are you going to play this? A lot more than you think, because
I've been fucking you on Zero.
Yes, that is one of them. To like survive against Zero. Some control matchups, you can just leave up 2 Dawn. So then when you're like, hey, you either have to go for a game where I kill you, you just say that, hey, I also have another 4K. And running them as 2 of, you usually don't see them when you don't want to. And if you see them in life, you just win the game.
Yeah.
Speaking of seeing them in life and just winning the game, 2 Mulguns. The last game was against the Shanks, and I literally won because I had Mulgun in life when they went for lethal. So that's one reason to run the card.
What you hit? Did you reduce something? Or
I reduced the 12 cost Shanks, 10 cost Shanks, sorry. And then I popped an Uta, and it just ruined their lethal plan. So yeah, besides the goated trigger, we have, what we need to do is remove Smoker on 5. Smoker on 5 destroys our deck.
Yeah.
Smoker on 5, you're like praying that you have like some sort of counterplay in hand. This is that counterplay. They play Smoker on 5, especially if you have a Sanji on 3. You have your 6k body, bada bing, bada boom, and you even have 3 Dawn or 2 Dawn or whatever left over to do swings or play out another 3 cost Sanji. Such a good card. So yeah, really underrated. If I had more space in the deck, I'd play more of them, but we have so many bricks. I forgot the counts, but I think it's like close to 16, 18 maybe.
I can add a tally at the end.
You could add a tally, but there's already so many bricks, and that's why we have, this is our last one. Kind of like a Hail Mary if all we have is bricks. Also a trigger that's worse than these 2, but still relevant. I think it's fine as one. I think this card, if you disagree with my Shanks list, you can move this card to be whatever you want, really. I think this is just the safest thing to put.
Yeah. I mean, basically turns anything into 3k counter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, especially when we play so many bricks, and you only have 1 spot remaining, you don't really want another one of these because these in late game suck. This could just be a brick in hand, so 2 seems reasonable. So I'm like, what's one thing that can at least get rid of a brick? First matchup was me versus a Doflamingo, a really talented Doflamingo. It's probably one of my hardest games of the day. And they also took first. So already we're off to a really scary start. The way that the matchup worked is I only had 1 Rayleigh 2. They were constantly searching, though, for Red Rock, and they never found Red Rock. And from them searching for Red Rock, they kind of slowed down their own pace a little bit, I feel.
Is Red Rock searchable by Sengoku?
No, they were just like trying to stack their deck. They did a lot of deck stacking. And it happened to be they had 2 grab blades in hand, and they ended up with the 2 Red Rocks were in their life. So
this thing's very bricked.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough that I just went for a game. It wasn't like the worst swings. It was like 8, 8, 7, 9 or something like that. Yeah. So pretty good swings, and we just survived. That's like the game plan into Dofi, especially when we lose the especially when we lose the dice roll, we just got to survive.
Yeah. So I mean, definitely felt better than back when Jinbei days.
So much better. Like, actually infinitely better. Like, I was really worried, since you know how this deck doesn't have any Newgate, which I think is the way, if you're scared of Zuro and you're scared of Dofi, just put some Newgates in your deck. But then the problem is that they won't do anything in a lot of other matchups.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't hate if someone did like 2 Newgates as like opposed to some cards if they were like really expecting a regional to be more aggro focused, because it is just
it's a Wild West meta right now.
It is a Wild West meta. But Newgate is just so nice against aggro because you're just like flipping it every turn and they just can't keep up. Yeah. Or they have to just put 5 Dawn on one of their bodies. They don't want to do that. So
what's next?
The next was a Shanks mirror, the first of many.
Yeah.
And I lost the dice roll. So it was already...
So you want to go second or first?
I want to go second.
Okay.
You can win by going first by aggroing them down, but it's just much easier to have your dragon on 8, your Rush Luffy with an extra Dawn to swing, and then you can get another dragon on 10, or just obviously play your 10 cost. You kind of control the pace of the game, I feel like, more when you're on even, and it's a lot easier. Even though I'll show you, you can win on odd, because I won on odd. The first player was also lucky. They did a lot of defending of their life early game, although it was pretty tense. I had like 2 life, and then I went to 1 life, and then I just cleared their board, and then all of a sudden I'm at 0 life, and getting them all the way from 5 life down to 0. But I mean,
so you're praying they don't draw Roger? Or?
Yeah. And they only had 1 Roger too, and it was on the bottom of their deck. So nice. I just double blockered with not the the Lucky Roo because it's easier to lime juice. I had two 4-cost 2K choppers.
Nice.
So that's the only reason why I went for this line, because I'm like, if you have Roger, I'm already dead. But if I do 2 of these 4-cost 6Ks, I know how hard it is to like reduce them, because that's what Otama makes it 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have Otama lime juice, and that's 2Ks in their hand, and then I still have another one. So they'd have to Otama lime juice, which is 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's 8 Dawn. So then they have a 7K swing.
Yeah, but it's like no way they had that many cards in hand, anyways, too.
Yeah, I think they had like 4 cards in hand that have to be exactly those. Yeah. And then they swing 7 as like their big reveal. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And I was fine. After that matchup, I had another Shanks mirror where I got the dice roll. And I'll be honest with you, chat. I got the nuts. I had Sanji on 4. I had Rush on 5. I had Dragon on 8. Dragon on 10. Just cooked. just cooked. If you do that as a Shanks player in the mirror, nothing you can do. Unless there's like something.
You didn't even have to drop 10 Shanks?
Nope. I think it's sometimes better just to do Dragon, especially since they just kept taking.
Yeah. They split your swings.
Yeah. Just so good. That was the easiest one of the day. No chain or anything. It was just they agreed to. They were like, you just high rolled me, and I was like, yeah, I just Shanks high rolled.
Yeah.
After that was
Zero?
1, 2 Shanks mirrors.
Zero?
It could be Zero was the second to last. That was top 4.
You said 3 games though, right?
Oh yeah, that was 3. Yeah, you're right. So that's 3. So then the 4th game was Zero.
Okay.
It was against our friend. Should I say their name?
Quentin.
Yeah, Quentin. Against our friend Quentin, who also goes to our locals, was borrowing your deck list.
Nah. That was someone else borrowing my deck list.
Oh, you're right.
And then someone else using my deck list got like 3rd at everything games.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it was using not the same, but I think it was definitely similar.
Might have been Cameron's list.
Yeah, but it was a really good list. The trick
is mine.
It wasn't yours. If it was yours, I would have lost.
Pilot difference.
The pilot difference.
Yeah.
I saw both of my Redhawks in that matchup. Perfect. I knew that so sometimes when you're playing Zero, obviously, if you follow the matchup a lot, they usually keep up 1 to bluff or to play Shut Up and Come With Us. I saw it search, so I knew that it was at hand. And I just had a Rayleigh in hand. So I'm like, wait, if I just don't swing for 2 turns, I can just drop Rayleigh, 10 drop.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And we got there. And then the last game was yet another Shanks mirror. I luckily won the die roll, but this one was way closer. And like I said, it went to swing out versus swing out. I swung 9, and I was going to threaten swinging 10. They obviously countered out of the 9. And then instead of swinging 10, I just swung 6, and then I played a Lucky Roo. And then on the crackback, I got a...
Did they take the 6?
No, they didn't. They countered out of it. They had all counter in hand. Yeah. It was really crazy. And then out of the second to last life, I hit the trigger to reduce them and KO. And then... Mulgun. Then I swung 6 with Dragon. They had 2 Shanks out. So I had to put 2 Dawn on a Marco to swing 6.
Yeah.
And then I swung 7 with Dragon and then 7 with Life. And they only had 1 card in hand.
Guaranteed.
No, because it's 7. So the card in the hand was a Divine Departure.
Oh.
So funny enough, we were talking about it earlier. They just swung 6, Divine Departure. 7/7, 1 card in Life. If that card's 2K,
they can leader effect.
Take
2K?
leader effect 2K, but it was not 2K. So yeah,
Wow.
Super close, super close. So yeah, that was the matchups.
Do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, so we also made a video that's going to be released at the same time where we talk about reviewing sealed products. Check that one out. We want your takes. Were we completely off base? Want your takes on the Shanks list? I love the Shanks list. If you think anything's wrong, let me know. And if you guys are in Peoria, I'll see you there.
We'll give you signed cards, guys.
So true. Well,
let's bring Sharpies.
Sure. Sounds good. If they really want. But yeah, thanks for having me.